Hey guys, welcome to day 6. And so today, so let's do a recap first of all about day 5. And basically, in day 5, what we accomplished was the fact that we found out a model. So that is great. First of all, pat on the back, good stuff, right? So were able to find a model. So this is done. So we were able to run a LLM privately day before yesterday. So yesterday we did found a model or a method which is LIDA, right? LIDA by Microsoft. Microsoft. That we found it out that there's something like this. Now today's task is to make it work, isn't it? So that's the goal of today, and we'll explore more about and try to understand more about how this entire try and understand more about how data analysis and AI and LM, uh, how the field how the field of data analysis LM have evolved so far. So that's the task. Okay. So that's, and we can write something about this. This can be an article. So we will mark it green because this is an idea of an article. So we can have to create an article. Researched about it, write about it, and then let's do it. So on the way, we also found that there is this company called LLMware.ai, which actually uh, has open source model which you can use in financial, legal, and compliance areas or fields where there is a lot of repetitive tasks. Now, I have not gone in depth on explored this, but if I know for a fact that if in the future if I need a LM model where I need it to be for a, I need it to work in the field of finance, litigation, legal, and compliance, I can obviously come and download it. So it's an open source, and the best part about them is that so open source, there are 50 plus LLMware models. Okay, so the only difference between professional and enterprise model is you will not get training and education. You will not get any API layer. Private model repository is not available. Knowledge file based synchronization is not available. LLM analysis is not available. Audit reports is not available. Embedding model fine tuning is not available. Generative model fine tuning is not available. But pretty much, you get a model, right, which works out of the box. What else do you want? The ultimate toolkit of building LLM apps, no GPU required. Wow, crazy, isn't it? I think I should go and get enrolled in there. This thing, cool. So I'm just exploring their LLM. I'm just exploring the Discord to see what activities are going on. It is fascinating and eager to learn more about exploring the domain. I'm looking to contribute open source. I'm a beginner. I'm open to collaboration. I'm excited about the community. Hi, welcome. I'm excited to join us. You welcome. Example design. Video. We welcome all skill levels, and we have quite a few examples in video design to help you get started. Please reach out for advice and collaboration. Welcome also from my side. It's great that you think about content doc. In our doc, we have section where we describe. Okay, that is also a great way of So basically, I just check their Discord, and there is a way that you can contribute. Okay, let's figure out from here. This is LMware, right? And the link is LMware, where you can contribute. It seems. Mm, anyway, so if you can contribute, that is a great. Oh, great! I got it. Contributing to LMware. Contribute LMR are welcome for everyone from everyone. Our goal is to make the process as simple, transparent, safe as possible. The following are set guidelines to contributing LLMware. As with everything in the project, contributions to LLMware are governed by conduct, file and issue, provide clear and concrete ways to script and replace above, provide possible solution for the bugs, submit a pull request. If you're interested in existing issues, you can uh, mm, yeah, I think that's what it's all about. Yeah, I think that is also a great way. So basically, I saw a person who was asking in LLM where's Discord introduce yourself channel that I want to contribute and learn.
At a
So I found this about it from this person. Okay, anytime. So shout out to him as well. And I think they have a YouTube channel as well where they have videos where you can actually learn a lot about different stuff like build your agent interface in AWS, advantage techniques of working with different document type in RAG, voice to text transcriptions, generate custom prompts, perfect image, getting started, fast start to RAG intro. So I think they have pretty much good
here
documentation
called
as well.
Fast Start, which is really going to be the to the major. But what we wanted to do 0.2.0 example, and then fifth example, to be able to really install SQL.
Interesting. Cool. I'll be part of this channel for sure and see if how this is. Hmm. Okay, cool. So that was about LMware. I should have a document or a Excel. Cool. Okay. So hmm. And Cool. So that we can close it.
Running and serving LLMs is not an easy.
Okay, shout out to One Little Coder. He's also one of good, you know, YouTuber who talks about this. Yeah, we need to read this document.
Index the in
Spot, Medium. Oh my god, I have to write articles. Come on, Ignish. Running AI. Oh yeah, running AI. So make your data RAG ready and get access fast. Yeah, this is arguing one of it, which is this is again one where this is running AI. AI yes text to SQL. That's also which is interesting. Yeah.
You have to not just build for today, but build for
Let it do its thing for a bit. And with the prereqs installed, we'll copy and paste this command, a curl command that'll automatically do everything for us. I love it. Run that. And then right here, it tells us we need to add all this or just run this command to put this in our bash rc file so we can actually use the pyenv command. I'll just copy this, paste it, and then we'll type in source.bash rc
Just close this one.
to refresh our terminal. And let's see if pyenv works. Pyenv, we'll do a -h to see if it's up and running. Perfect. Now let's make sure we have a version of Python installed that will work for most of our stuff. We'll do pyenv install 3.10. This will of course install Python 3.10, the latest version. Excellent. Python 3.10 is installed. We'll make it our global Python by typing in pyenv global 3.10. Perfect. And now we're going to install automatic 1111. The first thing we'll do is make a new directory. mkdir for make directory. We'll call it stable diff. And then we'll jump in there, cd stable diff. And then we'll use this wget command to wget this bash script. We'll type in ls to make sure it's there. There it is. Let's go ahead and make that sucker executable by typing in chmod. We'll do a +x and then webui.sh.
Just want to check what all stuff does, you know, YouTube videos. He has this also.
SQL engine. No, no, no! Let's use a SQL injection to hack into a website. Here is our target, Altoro Mutual, an online banking site that is totally real. You'll be able to hack this website in like 30 seconds. We're going to use a SQL injection to hack into this website and gain admin privileges. Now our goal of this login form is to use it in a way that will give us access to the underlying database. When you try to log into this website, or really any website, when you hit enter, the website will connect to a database and run a search to see if your username and password exist on the database. If they do, you're in. Login successful. So here is where a SQL injection comes in, and it's kind of crazy. We know that a lot of websites will do this very thing. Query a database and possibly have a query that looks similar to this. And this may look familiar if you watched my previous SQL video. We'll use statements like this to find information in a database, but here, we're going to use the beauty of SQL against them.
Oh, crazy. Interesting. I think NetShock has a lot of great insights.
You need to stop clicking on shortened links. You've seen them before. Links like this or this or this. These bit.ly links, tinyURL, they have a big problem. You won't know where they take you until after you've clicked on them. By then, it might be too late. Okay, let me show you some tricks to get around this. First, I'll need a shortened link. Okay, so I found this guy's random YouTube channel. Let me see if there's any shortened links here. Here we go, get your CC So that's bit.ly. I'm gonna copy that link here, paste it in the taskbar, and all I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add a single plus to the end of it there. I'm gonna hit enter. And there you go, bit.ly shows me where this link's gonna take me. And it's just a YouTube playlist. But that only works with bit.ly links. So for example, I found this random guy on Twitter, and he has a shortened link pinned to his profile. Intica.co/coffee. Yeah, buddy, right, as if that link's gonna take me to coffee. So for this link, we can just put it through this website called redirectdetective.com. I'll just paste the link in here. Oh, looks like it leads me to networkchug.store. Oh wow, there really is coffee on here. Okay, I guess some shortened links are okay. But in general,
Cool. I think I'll watch for more understanding here. Learn Raspberry Pi, Network Security Foundation, great. YouTube videos, ad-free YouTube videos by joining the Academy. Top 60 commands, cheat sheet. SQL injection, ethical hacking, wow. 30 Windows command line cheat sheet. Windows fundamentals, live stream. Interesting. Wow. Very interesting stuff. Network check, I'll never forget, so I don't have to save him.
If you are a developer working on the
semaphore, so these guys are also good videos on
in the first video in the series, I made my
okay, playlist. What do I have here? I can put it here like this. AI for engineering teams. So I'll just go here and copy paste this. So I have a link. Ankit, fine tune, build, easy deploy. I don't know how I landed on it, but Ankit is one-stop solution. AI Kit. AI Kit is a one-stop shop to quickly get started and to host and deploy. Okay. Use local AI which supports a wide range of interface capabilities. Local AI. Okay. Interesting. Pre-made models, Llama 3, Excel, NVIDIA Cuda Model 3. Fine-tuning process allows the adaptation of pre-trained models to domain-specific data. At the time, AI Kit fine-tuning process only supported with NVIDIA GPU. You can execute or cat. Due to limitation built with NVIDIA, essentially that GPU drive explosion on your host machines. Local AI is. Great. I have good, some videos and links, guys. That's nice. So let's close this up and let's try to keep the relevant ones. Oh, so they have done something with this. Interesting. Okay, if you hear something, that's my mom with my niece in the background, so apologies for that. Anyway, going forward, we can keep this because these guys implemented LIDA. Interesting. You have done something with LIDA, which I also have to implement now. Let's see how we can do it. Okay. So my first thing, one more interesting person I've found on the internet.
Hey, do you want to be a product manager, but you're worried about how you'll collaborate with a tech, design, or a marketing team? Because
Hey, do you want to see me build a Docker container? Yeah, let's do it real quick. Done. Want to see it again? Done. Man, that was fast. A bit deeper, talk about the big why Docker, alright? Let's do it. Okay, what the junk is a Docker container? Whoa, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Before we can define what a Docker container is, we have to first define what it's replacing. Virtual machines. What is a virtual machine? Now, many of you already know. Check the timestamps to jump forward, but we're going to cover what it is real quick. And I actually have a ton of virtual machines running on servers in my data center right now, and I've been meaning to get those servers out of there because I'm paying a high bill. I want to bring those home with me right now. Let's go get it.
Whose things should I unplug?
Goodbye, data center. So here's one of my babies. My servers. Now, before we answer the question, what in the world is a Docker container? We have to first talk about what's a virtual machine. Let's dig in. So this is my server. Traditionally, before virtual machines, you would install one operating system on this piece of hardware. Whew, a bit dusty. All of the server's resources, from the CPU to the RAM to the hard drive, all of it was dedicated to one operating system, one server OS. So like I might just have Linux, and this is my Linux server, or I might just have Windows. This would be my Windows Server 2016. Now, what's the issue with that? Well, none really, unless you want another server, another operating system. So before virtual machines, if you wanted a Windows server and a Linux server, you had to have two physical servers like this. So that's where virtualization comes in. Instead of installing one operating system, we're going to install something called a hypervisor. Now, a hypervisor is kind of like an operating system, but it only has one goal. Its goal is to help you carve up or divide your server's resources into multiple servers. Now, there are a ton of hypervisors, but the most popular one would be VMware, which is what I have installed on my servers, and specifically it's called ESXi. Bonus points if you tell me in the comments what this means, or what it stands for. And simply what it allows us to do is take a portion of our server's resources, maybe 2 gigs of RAM, 2 CPUs, 100 gigabytes of hard drive space, and this will be our Ubuntu server. And then on the same server, I can say over here, I can have 1 CPU, not cup, 1 CPU, 2 gigs of RAM, 40 gigs of hard drive space, and that will be my Windows Server 2016. And I can keep doing this until my server runs out of resources. Or I can even make these bigger, going from, I don't know, 1 CPU to 41. I mean, you can go crazy. Virtual machines are amazing, and people use them every single day. But that's not how Docker works. In fact, Docker is kind of, well, not just kind of, it's different. When we use Docker containers, it takes us back to before virtualization. We're gonna install one operating system on this entire thing. So one operating system gets access to everything our server has to offer. But why do that? That's the big question, right? What is Docker doing? Here's what it is, and this is crazy. I'm gonna drop this line on you, okay? Where virtualization and virtual machines are virtualizing hardware, Docker virtualizes the operating system. What? What does that even mean? Now this right here is what we commonly see when we visualize how virtualization works. We have our hardware, we've got our hypervisor, and then we have our guest operating systems. But let me show you what Docker looks like. We'll always have our hardware, but instead of a hypervisor, like we just discussed, we're gonna have one operating system installed on top of this hardware.
Okay.
Or onto the hardware.
That's
and let's
what
just
we
say for our
do.
case.
Now this is what we used to do initially, right? Before hypervisor came in, we used to only install one OS. So
We are going to install Ubuntu. Now, here we go. We'll then have our good old buddy Docker fly in and make some magic happen. Docker installs like any other application you might install on Linux. It'll be a process running or a daemon running. And then using Docker, we will virtualize portions of our operating system, in this case, Ubuntu, to create containers, which, by the way, we'll define here in a moment, but they're really doing the same thing as these virtual machines over here. They have the same function and they have a lot of the same qualities, which is why it's kind of cool how they can replace virtual machines. Controversial, but that's what I think. And these containers, much like VMs, can be running a different operating system. CentOS, and even Ubuntu. You can install Ubuntu on Ubuntu. What? Okay, but what are these things? What are containers? I like to think of them as crazy fast, lightweight microcomputers. And don't let micro fool you, like they can be as powerful as you want them to be. And similar to a virtual machine, they'll have their own operating system, their own CPU processes, their own memory, their own network. And the most important thing, and I think it's really appropriate for nowadays, is that they're quarantined. They are isolated. They are secure. As far as they understand, they are their own thing. They might as well be installed on bare metal servers because that's how isolated they are. Wilson, they're as isolated as you are right now. What, too soon? Now let me say it again. These suckers are lightweight and they are wicked fast. Like you saw at the beginning of this video. Click, bam, whew, it's there. Now we'll cover why they're more lightweight, why they're faster, and more of why they're amazing here in a moment, but I think it's time. I think it's time you got your hands dirty, your feet wet, all those things. We're gonna do that right now. Time to get your hands on with Docker containers. I'm so excited about this. You might say I can't contain myself. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Fire up your web browser, go to the link below, linode.com, $20 of free credit, more than enough to play with Docker. So go ahead and create that free account and we will start labbing right now. Now, as I mentioned before, Linode is a cloud service provider, very similar to AWS, Azure, Google, and we're going to use them as our cloud service provider right now. So from the dashboard, we'll go to the top right and click on Create, and we'll create a Linode. Now right now you should be on Distributions. I want you to click on one click. Click on that.
Are you applying for jobs after job on LinkedIn and getting nowhere? You might be shooting in the dark and you really need a better plan. So let me
explain. I kind of get what he meant, but because the way Network Chuck explained this, it became super easy. I have seen this explanation, I've heard this explanation, I've seen people explain this explanation multiple times over my years, over the past few years, but this with the visualization, this is like my style of learning, so for me it's the best.
And I'll select my first. I need the switch dash.
Okay, I am getting so much inspired by this one person. I mean, who are you, my friend? Like, you are like crazy. We have Python right now, Python course. He has Linux for hackers, hacking encrypts, free security course, Linux. What is the VMware engineer, network programmability? Very interesting. Let's go with Python.
You need to learn Python right now. Hold up. Why? What? With the browser? Oh, hold on. I take that back. You won't need nothing. You'll need coffee. That's required. Just this. But anyways, check that link in the description to do all of this Python stuff. And if you want to be able to edit your world, exclamation point. Actually, let's do a couple of those. 4, 5, 6, or 10, because we're super excited to learn Python and we're drinking lots of coffee, I hope. That's your code. We're done. Go and click on the play button up here, or the run button, and let's watch what happens. Run. Boom. Okay. Hello, world. Down here in our Python terminal, we just ran Python code. That's it. We're done. You're a coder now. No, let's talk about what we did here. So when we said print hello world in Python, we gave our computer a set of instructions. We said, hey computer, I want you to do something. Things like, hey, that code spelled. Let's run our code. Run. Warning, we're about to use Python to destroy, obliterate data. Please try this at home, in your lab, like not in production. But seriously, in this video, we're gonna quick coffee from just getting started with the TV/network, and for me, a bidet. But thankfully, the side effect. Use a, but no, we want to remove something.
Basic Python. Cool. Enough of getting sidelined from our task. So the goal of today is to try our hands at LIDA and see where we can, how far we can go. Let me check if I have any messages. Cool, that's great. Yes. Cool, perfect. Awesome. So let's do one more thing which I wanted to do. Is this okay. Okay, just a minute, guys. I'm sorry about this. Just go with that. Perfect. Cool, I think that's done. So let's remove from here, which is 13th. Weekly sales. Weekly? Okay, cool. Perfect. Perfect, cool. All right, awesome, guys. Let me just let's focus on getting this bad boy running on a machine. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to watch was Matthew's video. Matthew Olama, not Matthew, but Matt Williams. I'm so sorry, Matt.
When you're ready to start solving on the cloud, the Google Cloud Free program.
I have to save him because he's one of the best instructor of Olama. Cool. Matt.
Hey there, I'm Matt, and I want to help get you up to speed with developing applications with Olama using Python. I'm assuming you already know what Olama is and how to work with it. If not, I have a 10-minute video intro. But you want to start building applications that leverage it. Great. Let's start by looking at how to access the API. Olama has two main components. First, there's a client. The client is what runs when you type Olama run Llama 2.
Okay, so this is where I'll also upskill myself and have all the learnings in a document so that I can use it later. No. So I just put this. How to run locally in Twitter so that you can build apps. This is very important stuff. I'll give it heading 3. So I'll just also okay, perfect. Perfect, guys. So let's start. So what he's saying is that
It's the REPL that you work. The client is what runs the API. Applications that leverage it. Great. Let's start by looking at how to access the API. Olama has two main components.
saying Olama API. So let's put it like heading 3. It has two components. One is the client and
First, there's a client. The client is what runs when you type Olama run Llama 2.
client runs when you type Olama run. Okay.
It's the REPL that you work with. The other main component is the
REPL you work with. Okay.
service. This is what Olama serve starts up. Normally you don't do this interactively. Instead, it runs as a service in the background.
The second is the service. Service. So that's so it runs on the background. It runs on the background. Okay. It runs on the background and is not interactive. Okay.
That service publishes the API. The CLI is just another API client that uses the standard public API, just like whatever tool you're going to write. The service publishes a few different REST API.
So whatever he just said right now, my mind did understand, but I don't understand it for some reason. Okay, let's go slow.
Normally you don't do this interactively. Instead, it runs as a service in the background. That service publishes the API.
Okay.
Runs as a service in the background. You don't do this interactively. Llama 2. It's the REPL that you work with. The other main component is the service. This is what Ollama Serve starts up. Normally you don't do this interactively. Instead, it runs as a service in the background. That service publishes the API. The CLI is just another API client that uses the standard publishes the API. The CLI is just a background. That service publishes the API. The CLI is just another API client that uses the standard public API, just like.
Okay, got it. So, which is used by client. CLI is just another client. Can I make an arrow like this, which I want to? But Oh, no, 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 not this. This is not working, but I want it to be like something which I can. Like that. Really wanted to. This is a limitation of Google Docs, right? You cannot make interactive. I know there's a lot of extensions, but yeah. Let me use color.
Whatever tool you're going to write. This interactively. Instead, it runs as a service in the background. That service publishes the API. The CLI is just another API client that uses the standard public API, just like what whatever tool you're going to write. The service publishes a few different whatever tool you're going to write. Client that uses the standard public API, just like whatever tool you're going to write. The service publishes a few different REST API endpoints. You can find these at the GitHub repo under docs and then API. Going to write. The service publishes a few different REST API endpoints. You can find these at the GitHub repo under docs and then
let's go to GitHub. Ollama GitHub. Okay, so I need to go to API. No, I don't have to go to API, but docs.api. Docs. Here I should find API. So generate a completion, generate a chat completion model, completion, create a model, list local model, show model information, copy a model, delete a model, pull a model, push a model, generate embeddings, list training models. Okay, model name. Names follow a model tag format where model can have the optional namespace such as example model. Some examples are Orca Mini and Llama 3. The tag is optional, and if you not provided, will default to latest. The tag is used to identify a specific version. All durations are returned in nanoseconds. Streaming responses. Certain endpoints stream responses as JSON objects and can optional return non-stream responses. Post API generate. Generate a response for a given prompt with provided model. This is streaming endpoint. So there will be a series of responses. The final response object will include statistics and additional data from the request. Okay, we'll model from images, advanced parameters. Okay, JSON mode. Enable JSON mode by setting the format parameter to JSON. Examples below. Curl HTTP. This is where Ollama will be hosted. So curl command is giving API generate. Okay, API generate. Oh, so this is the call to this one. Generate a response from the given prompt with provided model. This is a streaming endpoint. So there will be a series of responses. The final response object will include statistics and additional data of the request. So basically, generate endpoint will give you a response of the object. Of the model with its statistics, for example, like this. So if I give this, response would be like model name, right? Response. It didn't give a good response. What is the sky? What is the sky blue? Okay, and then false. The final response in the stream also include additional data about generation, total duration, low duration, prompt evaluate, prompt to calculate how fast the response is generated in token per second, divide eval count by eval duration to 10 power 9. Llama created a response, done. Total duration, request, no streaming. A response can be received in one reply when streaming is off. Response is set to false. Stream is set to false. The response will be single JSON object. When format is JSON, the output will be JSON. The value of response will be string containing JSON to similar. Request with images. To submit images to multimodal such as Lava, provide a list of 64 encoded images. Okay, so you have model, what is in the picture, image, responses, happy cat and character. Request from mode. Now I'm understanding a bit more. List local models, get API tags, curl command API tags. Response would be models, and then it is ending here. So we have two models in this particular response. So we have code llama and llama 3. Show model information, API show. So D show means response full. Very interesting. So I just wanted to learn what is curl command. What is curl? Curl is a command line tool for transferring data with URLs. It stands for client URL. Oh, client URL. So client URL. So client is, oh, it will be okay. So service. So if I build a tool, now that my tool becomes a client. Now my client's URL is basically a request that will go to the service. Is so if I say client URL, so when I say client URL, I'm talking about this URL. So it's local 141. So basically localhost is where is my machine. 11434 is basically the port on which, if I run Olama, which I have run in previous days, will be hosted, right? So I'm saying my client in my machine, so in my URL, so that's me. If I get API and if I go to pull, then you should actually start pulling Olama, downloading. This is what you should do. So it's I'm giving the service, but my question here is, who will be giving response, right? That is my question. Where does it go and hit? You understand? I do have this like post request, which is like this, but does it go and hit? Which I don't understand, but okay, finally in future. Is a command line tool and library for transferring data with URLs. Okay, it stands for client URL. Curl is used to interact with web servers, APIs, and other network services. It supports a wide range of protocol, including HTTPS. Versatility, common downloading file, example.com, file zip. Sending data, X post, D param values. Okay, working with APIs, H content type, handling authentications. Okay, example commands. Explain it to a truth creator. Command line tool library used to transfer data from or to a server. It is particularly useful for fetching files from the internet, testing APIs, and automating tasks that involve web resources. Very simple. Command line tool. Curl is used in the terminal or command prompt of your computer. It operates by typing commands directly into the interface. Data transfer. Curl can download or upload data using various protocols. For example, you can download a file from the internet by typing command called curl. Support many protocols. Curl isn't limited to just web pages. It can also handle protocols like FTP, SMTP, and others. APIs and automation. Curl is widely used to interact with API, which are tools that allows different software systems to communicate. For instance, if a website offers a weather service API, you can use curl to request the current weather data by typing command. Flexible and powerful. You can use curl to send and receive data in various formats. For example, to send data to a server, you might use Interesting. Let's go back to the topic.
And API.md. Let's start by reviewing these endpoints, and I'll point out some things to keep in mind. It's pretty important to understand the underlying API before we can get busy with the Python library. There are a few different things you can do with the API. You can generate a completion using the chat or generate endpoints. This means asking a question to a model and getting an answer back. You can create, delete, copy, and list models. You can show model information such as the system prompt or template. You can push and pull a model to and from Ollama.com, and you can generate embeddings. Let's look at generating a completion. There are two endpoints here, chat and generate. Both can do exactly the same thing, but which one to use depends on your use case. If you're just going to ask a model a question as a one-off request and not ever hold a conversation with it, then using the generate endpoint makes the most sense. If you need to go back and forth with the model and manage memory or context, then the chat endpoint is more convenient. Again, you can do everything with both, but if it's just a one-off request, then managing the messages in the chat endpoint is a bit of extra work, which is only really valuable in conversations. Okay, so generate can be found at localhost port 1.
Perfect, let's go back.
Generating Ollama.com, system prompt, or template list models. And there are a few different things you can do with the API. You can generate a completion using the chat or generate endpoints. This means asking a question to a model and getting an answer back. You can create, delete, copy, and list models. You can show model information such as the system prompt or template. You can push and pull a model to and from Ollama.com, and you can generate embeddings. Let's look at generating a completion. There are two endpoints here, chat and generate. Let's look at generating a completion. There are two endpoints here, chat and generate. Both can do exactly the same thing, but which one to use depends on your use case. If you're just going to ask a model a question as a one-off request and not ever hold a conversation with it, model a question as a one-off request.
Use generate when you will have one of request and not going to have a conversation. Is that correct?
And not every ever hold a conversation with it, then using the generate endpoint makes the most sense. If you need to go back and forth with the model and managed memory or context, then the chat endpoint is more convenient. Again, you can do everything with both, but if it's just a one-off request, then managing the messages in the chat endpoint is a bit of extra work, which is only really valuable in conversations. Okay, so generate can be found at localhost port 11434/API/generate. If you want to use the API on a different host, refer to this video that shows you how to host Ollama on a different machine. For generate, there is only a single required parameter, model. This is the name of the model you want to load. If you call generate with just the model name and the model is already loaded, then the unload timeout will be reset to another 5 minutes, with one exception that we're going to talk about later. For generate, that shows you how you want to use the port 11434. Okay, so generate can be found at localhost port 11434/API/generate. If you want to use the API on a different host, refer to this video that shows you how to host Ollama on a different machine. For generate, there is only a single required parameter. Model. This is the name of the model you want to load. Single required parameter. Model. This is the name of the model you want to load. If you call generate with just the model name and the model is already loaded, then the unload timeout will be reset to another 5.
Consider a web application with an unknown event handler that sends user activity data row. So when the user closes the tab, the browser will allow this event handler a certain amount of time to complete this task. The data is not sent within this time frame. The browser will terminate the request and proceed with an unloading the page. Consider an application with an unload event handler that sends user activity data to a server when the user closes the tab. Consider a web application with an unload event handler that sends user activity data to a server when the user closes the tab. The browser will allow this event handler a certain amount of time to complete its task. If the data is not sent within the time frame, the browser will terminate the request. Instead of application with an unload event handler that sends user activity data to a server when the user closes the tab, the browser will allow the event holder to a certain amount of time to complete this task. If the data is not sent within the time frame, the browser will terminate the request and proceed unloading the page. Example of in servers. A web server might have an unload timeout setting for gracefully shutting down the server. It's interesting concept. I never knew. So the concept is very simple. And if I close this tab, there is a unload what is called as unload timeout. Now unload timeout, let's say I put it to 10 seconds and it will wait for 10 seconds. If I open it back, let's say for like this, so I opened it within 10 seconds, right? Again, so the server is getting the data from this page that this is open, but as soon as I close this tab, in backend the server will, after 5 seconds or 10 seconds, the server will stop this page of opening a server. The server will stop this page from rendering. Cool. That way it can save its resources. Okay.
5 minutes with one exception that we're going to talk about. Amount will be reset to another.
Okay, if you...
Another 5 minutes with one exception that we're going to talk about later.
So if I do it, if I load it again, it will reset again to 5 minutes.
Prompt parameter is the question you want to ask the model.
The prompt parameter is question.
This will be inserted into the actual model request based on request. Either that's defined. This will be inserted into the actual model request based on the template, either that's defined in the model or the template you specify in this request. Images is used when you work with a multimodal model, such as Lava. You can provide an array of images that are base64 encoded. The model can only deal with a base64 encoded image, so you must perform that conversion yourself. We'll see that this is a little different in the Python library. This is an array, but I haven't seen it do anything special with more than one image yet. Notice that the response is a stream of JSON blobs, each specifying the model, created at, response, and done. So most, if not all, of the endpoints respond as a streaming API. Each JSON blob includes a token. It looks like, if not all, perform that conversion yourself. We'll see that this is a little different in the Python library. This is an array, but I haven't seen it do anything special with more than one image yet. Notice that the response is a stream of JSON blobs, each specifying the model, created at, response. Notice that the response is a stream of JSON blobs, each specifying the model, created at, response, and done. So most, if not all, of the endpoints respond as a streaming API. Each JSON blob includes a token. It looks like most of them are full words, but some of these responses show the parts of words, or tokens. So Scroll all the way down, and you can see the last blob has done set to true, and includes the context that you can provide to the next generate call. It also shows all the stats for this generation. You'll notice that it does not provide tokens per second, but you can just divide the tokens by the seconds to come up with that yourself. If you want the response to be a single value after the generation is complete, you can set stream to false. We can see here that the response shows all the tokens in the response joined together. If you set stream to false, then you have to wait till all of the tokens are generated. Setting stream to false will not speed up the response, and in fact may feel slower since you have to wait longer for that first token. But sometimes it's useful to turn streaming off if you're returning JSON. So that takes us to the format parameter. This only allows for a single value, and that is JSON. Using format JSON is more than just specifying the format value. You should also say something like respond as JSON in the prompt, and ideally provide an example of the schema in the prompt as well. Otherwise, you run the risk of outputting a different schema each time you use it. The big array of numbers in this output is the context. If you want to provide this answer and continue the conversation with the model, pass this context to the next call to generate endpoint. But it's a bit of a black box that you can't really control. So if I know I'm going to need to hold a conversation, I'll stick with the chat endpoint. Options, system, and template just override whatever's set in the model file. Raw is there in case you want to handle the entire system prompt and template yourself entirely. There were some early users of the API that had a system that managed their own system prompts that needed this. This also removes the context from the output. Finally, there's Keep Alive. Keep Alive defines how long the model should stay in memory. The default is 5 minutes, but you can set it to any time you like, or -1 to keep it in memory forever. If you provide just a number to this, then it will default to seconds, but if you provide it as a string, it has to include an S or M or H to indicate the granularity. For the chat endpoint, all the parameters are the same, with a few exceptions. The context, system, and prompt parameters inject time you like. Keep Alive defines how long the model should stay in memory. The default is 5 minutes, but you can set it to any time you like, or -1 to keep it in the memory forever. If you provide just a number to this, then it will default to seconds, but if you provide it as a string, it has to include an S or M or H to indicate the granularity. For the chat endpoint, all the parameters are the same, with a few exceptions. The context, system, and prompt parameters in generate are replaced with messages. Messages is an array of message objects that can include the system prompt, the prompt from the user, the examples of any output, and any memory or context that you want to send to the model. Each message has a role, which can be system, or user, or assistant. Content is the actual text of the message. And optionally, images is the array of images to send for multimodal models. I'll do some more complex examples later when we get to the library. The rest of the endpoints are a bit simpler and should be understandable using the docs. So let's switch gears to working with the Python library. You can learn more about it at github.com/olama/olama. Let's switch gears to working with the Python library. You can learn more about it.
Okay.
At github.com.
Okay, Python library. Oh, interesting. Oh wow, very interesting. Nice.
/Olama/Olama-Python. One of the benefits of the Python library is that it simplifies the switch to and from streaming. The function calls return a single object when not streaming, or a Python generator when they are streaming. Okay, so let's get into the code. This will be part of the video projects repo under intro dev python-2024 or 0402. The video projects repo under intro dev python-2024
Oh, interesting. So we have also given some projects that you can try it out. Okay.
or 0402. First step is to add the Olama Python library with pip install Olama. This first example is 1.py. I'll start by importing Olama. The simplest example is just olama.generate and set model to any model. Remember, this is going to reset the keep alive parameter for this model. But let's set a prompt to something in 2.py. Why is the sky blue? And we can run it. Notice that we get the non-streaming response. In the API, it defaults to streaming, but here we default to not streaming. I think this makes more sense, but changing the REST API means breaking a lot of code out there in the process. So that probably won't happen until there's a need for a new version of the API. Folks are usually pretty reluctant to do that. So add stream set to true in 3.py, but we don't get much of a response. So let's iterate through the parts of the output and write that out. But that's a bit hard to watch. So rather than printing the full chunk, let's print just the token, and that looks better. We can add the stats at the end by looking for done is true. Durations of Olama are measured in nanoseconds, so we need to multiply it out to be useful. In 4.py, we're going to make a second generate call that remembers the first, then save the value of the context from the last blob and feed it into the context of the second call. Here I've set the prompt to be vague so that we know it was using the context. We can try again without the context set in order to verify that it does what we think. Okay, now let's try describing an image in 5.py. I have a JPEG of my hand in this folder. This one. Unlike the REST API, which expects a base64 encoded string, the Python module expects the image as a bytes object. In fact, it won't work with a base64 encoded string. Then just have the model describe the image. Print that feed by user 434 was the base of the URL. But what if you set up a server that's not your local machine? I set up a Linux box on brev.dev and called it Met's Remote Olama API. I installed Olama and pulled Llama 2. Then installed Tailscale and set the machine name in the Tailscale admin to Met's Remote Olama API. Then set Olama host environment variable to 0.0.0.0 and restarted Olama. Now in the code on my machine, change the Olama import and create a new Olama client pointing to the remote host. And now the code just works. I think the rest of the functions should just make sense. You'll find other examples using the code in this repo, which is the code for most of my more recent videos. If anything wasn't clear in this video, let me know in the comments below. It's hard to fix the video, but if it's a glaring omission, I can look at making a new video. And join us in the Discord at discord.gg/Olama. Thanks so much for being here. But let me know in the comments below, which is the code for most of my fix the video, but if it's a glaring omission, I can look at making a new video. And join us in the Discord.
very interesting video. I would now definitely, you know, nothing is here. Nobody is here, but anyway, people are here. Cool. So I'm gonna take a break, and then it's been 1 hour 40 minutes already. Great. I'm gonna try installing this on my Windows machine and see how that goes, and then use this. Then if I can use it, then it really means that I have successfully used a local LLM in my machine. Previously I was using Linux, which is not available in Windows, so I was using WSL, Windows subsystem for Linux, and then from there I had actually downloaded Olama, and then I was running in the Linux environment, which is not in my Windows environment. But I need to develop apps in the Windows environment, or else I would be launching Linux. I think I'll be launching a lot of stuff from Linux, but that I don't really understand, so it'll get complicated. So cool, great guys. So I'm stop recording there now, and the next time I'll just come and watch and try to implement this. Great stuff. Cool guys. So let's start downloading Olama and running models locally. Let's see how that goes. I just Okay, let's check this out. So first, native Windows experience Olama on Windows include build in GPU installation, access to full model library, and Olama API. Hardware acceleration, okay. So Olama Jupyter. Okay, so let's try this out then. Anaconda. See. Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm right now downloading LangChain, and then I'll open my Jupyter notebook, and then we'll try to download Olama and then use it. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is Jupyter book. Okay, cool. So we have LIDA. No, we'll have a new not this one. Have CUDA. Great, perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here. LangChain is not available. Just now imported, guys. Oh, maybe not in this environment. Okay. But, stall. Requirement already satisfied. Then what is the problem? अजीब बात है. There is no Langchain. Then let me check my path variables. Okay. We have it as an environment variable. What is the problem? Interesting, yaar. Guys, let me restart my machine. Probably there is an issue here, or let me just do it here. Probably this will work. Port line. Oh shit, even this is not working. Python kernel. Very interesting. Okay, let me just close my windows and then I will restart my machine. That way I think it should work. Perfect. Cool guys, so I've restarted my machine. Let's see if Anaconda, I'm running my again Anaconda, that's command prompt, and then let's see if it's able to read LangChain. So I'll put it like Anaconda activate automation is the name of my environment. Alright, awesome. So CD gen perfect, Jupyter notebook. Let me how to check version of LangChain in conda prompt. Okay, let's try this command. I do have LangChain. Yeah. Okay, so let me just run Jupyter notebook from here. Let's close this. Let's open this one and we'll try to run this. No model, come on man. I can just see the Jupyter, I have LangChain here. Then why the hell it is not picking up? I have no idea, bro. GPT. CHAN. Not able to run a simple Jupyter notebook. That's pretty embarrassing. But what is the issue here? Loading 16. Let's delete them. Are they getting deleted? What's happening in the backend, guys? Nope, they are deleted. Nothing seems to work. Is it even working properly? And wow, can't believe it's taking too much time to do a simple task. crazy, no? Let's open VS Code and try to work out here. Something is interfering, I guess. Well, it's not able to run properly. So I'll just share my other screen where right now I'll show you what's happening in the background. So perfect. So now here Langchain is working. That's nice. So I'll just close this. So I'll just leave this and I'll do this. No module in Langchain community. Okay. From elements import from Langchain import elements. I think this is changing pretty fast, right? That's why okay. Cool. So let's run this again, and we should not see LangChain error as LangChain community. Let's run this. Perfect. Great. So this is done. I just delete this one. So code, and then I will go to the document, right, which is, so Ollama is imported. So what I will do is, this is the code that I have. Let's give it this one. And let's see what happens in the background. LangChain warning was deprecated in LangChain core and will be removed in use invoke instead. So no connection can be because the target machine actively refused it. Okay, why did it refuse? And I have one more error. LangChain, the method bell call. There is error in this method. In this Python file, the method will be duplicated. Here, what is the issue? And this version issues are there, man, with this particular new version does not have the particular this thing, and this is not working. It's a headache, to be very honest. From LangChain core API internal is color internal. Okay, it is a bit tough, to be very honest, because this is something which LangChain core API deprecation uses is called internal and not, if not one and it's not, then this thing, if not and not one two did okay. So what is using this? Tell me that. Connections.py is trying to create connection, but connection.py 85 raise the error, then connection.py connection refused. No connection could be made because target active refused. Let's try this. Oh, I get it. So basically, it is trying to open. So, what it is doing, it is trying to open this. Okay. So, like this. But there is nothing here. Do you get it? Oh, let me just share my screen. So, basically, if you see the. Are you able to see the screen? So it's trying to access this, but the problem is there is nothing like that that's open. So first I need to install Olama, right? I need to install Olama and then run it in a Jupyter, run it, and then from there I can then this will connect. So conda I'll just run it here only. So terminal, right? So thank you so much ChatGPT. Without this ChatGPT, I would have not understood what the error is. That's why ChatGPT is great for development. Okay, so I have to install it. Cool, for Windows. Oh yeah, I have installed it. Cool. So that was the doubt that I had. Do I need to install it? So downloads, Olama setup. So I'm gonna install. Let me try and see if I can change the installation previous. Yes. So let's go with that. Then installing. So it's installing files, user, app data, programs. Okay, Ulama. So it's installing in C drive. Perfect. So it got installed. Okay. Got installed. Let's see what else do we need to do. Okay. Okay, now I will do Windows PowerShell and I'll say if I do this sorry, if I now run this again, now what does that say? Olama endpoint not. See, it says a different Olama call failed with status 1404. Maybe your model is not found and you should pull the model. Right, cool. So what I'll do is I'll go here. I'll say Olama is not recognized here. Okay. So I use PowerShell. Okay, D CD gen. So I'll say Olama pull llama. I'll here say that okay. So let me say llama 3 CD llama 3 Olama pull llama 3, correct? Let's go and check. So Olama models number 3, yes. Olama run. Yeah, so let me just do this. Perfect. So it's now pulling 4.7 GB of Olama. So the next step is just wait. So we just have to wait, and then we can, once it's downloaded, we can see something. Guys, come on, man. So basically my Wi-Fi strength is very less. It's like 72 KB, 80 KB, 89. Shit, this will take decades to install. Good, now it's at 30, 37, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 Mbps per second. Wow, it's going up to 160, 70, 180, 190. It's going up to, wow guys, 300 Mbps per second. No, 30 mbps per second, 13 mbps MB per second. Perfect. Great. This is what we wanted. 200 mbps per second. I'm right now getting 13 mbps per second very easily. So this is what I'm gonna do. This folder is empty. Okay, so we're not gonna do anything. Perfect, guys. So let it install. I'll show you probably if I'm able to change this to PowerShell, not Anaconda, but okay, I don't have it, so won't be able to show you that, but let me just keep it here. Yeah, I'll stop recording for now and wait till it gets downloaded.